Last week, the big, beautiful bill, I still cannot believe they actually named it the big, beautiful bill, but it passed the House and it's on its way to the Senate. The Senate's looking over it. Don't get your hopes up. It will probably go through in the Senate as well because Republicans are all cucked to Donald Trump. But now, the House Republicans are desperately going on the news and going to town halls, and they are trying to sell this to the American people. And the American people are just not buying it. We've got Speaker Johnson. He goes on Meet the Press, and he gets questioned about the big, beautiful bill. Let's see what kind of nonsense he's got to say about it.
Right. Well, I do want to talk about the big budget bill that passed through the House. Your plan calls for almost $900 billion over the next 10 years in cuts from the Energy and Commerce Committee. As you know, it's going to be nearly impossible to reach that level of cuts without touching entitlements. I know you have been asked this before, Mr. Speaker, but I need to get you on the record here again. Are cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security off the table?
Now, you know he's going to say that's not happening, yada, yada, bullshit, bullshit. But first of all, they're running around with this whole, there's 1.4 million illegals on Medicaid, which is absolute bullshit. Bill Clinton took care of that, making sure that nobody other than an actual citizen or naturalized citizen is able to get any kind of social service. So that right there is absolute bullshit. Just full stop bullshit. They're also talking about all of these people who, the 30-year-old, mythical 30-year-old able-bodied man who is living in his mom's basement playing video games and eating fucking Cheetos, and they're sucking off the government tit collecting Medicaid. It is absolute bullshit. And they're saying, oh, we're not getting rid of Medicaid. We're just adding some work requirements. Meanwhile, 90% of Medicaid recipients are actually working. They're just making so little money, they can't afford it. Remember, they lowered the amount of money that you make to $17,000 a year, which, by the way, I do not know how anybody can live off of $17,000 a year. I live in New York, so my shit's way more expensive. But $17,000 a year can't get you, you can't live in Iowa off of that. You could not live in Nebraska off of that. You can't live in Montana off of that. $17,000 a year is absolutely nothing. So 90% of the people are working, and some of them are, and the other smaller percentage are retirees and people like, who are taking care of indigent family members who had to quit their jobs because now they're here having to take care of their mom or their sick dad or their sick child, and they can't leave them. So they need some kind of health care to protect them because they don't even have a job. And now you want this person who is taking care of their sick father, you want them to be working 80 hours a month, which is basically just saying you can't have insurance because you think that that person is going to be able to work out, well, I've got to get out of the house for 20 hours a week. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to have somebody else come and take care of my dad, which is going to cost money that I don't have, so I can fulfill some kind of fucking work requirement. It's absolute insanity for him to think that this is not going to be just kicking people off of the service. They're talking about anywhere from 9 to 13 million people will not have any kind of health care after this. And if you think that this is not going to cost us anything, when these people ignore their health issues for months and months at a time until it gets to be an emergency, then they're showing up at the emergency room. And yet again, we are still going to be paying for that, either with higher premiums or higher taxes. So what's the Republican plan? Oh, I don't know. Let's make sure that a whole bunch of rural hospitals go out of business. So what are you going to be driving 2 hours? You're having an emergency, but my hospital is an hour and a half, 2 hours away. How are you going to get there? How are you going to fucking get there? You're just basically saying die. Just die. Anyway, let's hear this little midget Farquad motherfucker.
Yes, and don't take my word for it, Kristen. Go do a word search of the budget resolution that we passed on Tuesday. There is not one mention of Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. It's not in the bill because we haven't set the policy. What we're trying to do is get America back on sound fiscal ground. We have a 36...
By cutting taxes for the wealthy by $4.5 trillion. And he's about to say something here about we want to maintain the tax cuts that Donald Trump did in 2017. But they're not just maintaining those. They're maintaining those plus adding another $4.5 trillion in tax cuts on top of that. Fiscal responsibility. Sure, man. Sure.
Federal debt and ballooning deficits. The Republican Party is the party of fiscal responsibility. The American people want us to review the expenditures of the country and get our fiscal house in order, and that's what we must do. At the same time, we've got to extend the Trump-era tax cuts so we can make sure that every American does not receive the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end.
Rich people getting the largest tax increase in American history after they got the largest tax decrease in American history. Sure.
This year. We have very serious work. We can do both of those things simultaneously and not affect benefits for anyone who relies upon those and is eligible to receive them. President Trump's been crystal clear about this, and we have as well. But in those programs, you have lots of inefficiencies. In Medicaid, for example, there's an estimated $50 billion a year that is lost in fraud alone. We've got to clean that up, and the people want us to do it. That's what we're talking about, ensuring efficiencies, ensuring that the programs are strengthened so that they can remain solvent and help the people they're intended to help.
So you say there won't be any cuts to entitlements, but on Friday, Elon Musk, who President Trump has, of course, put in charge of making cuts all across the government, called Social Security, quote, the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Mr. Speaker, is that a sign that Social Security is Elon Musk's next target?
No, well, I've met with Elon about this multiple times. We meet late into the night in his office, and we've looked at that. What he's finding with his algorithms crawling through the data of Social Security system is enormous amounts of fraud, waste, and abuse.
So it's a target.
And we need to target that. The American people want us to. No, Kristen, don't put words in my mouth. What I am saying is we have a moral responsibility to ensure that those programs are conducted in a way that does not allow for this massive fraud and abuse. And that's what he...
Moral responsibility, waste, fraud, and abuse. The Department of Defense has not passed an audit in the last 20 years. They've been audited a half a dozen times, and 60% of the money that they've received, they cannot account for. If you gave one good goddamn about waste, fraud, and abuse, that would be the first place you looked. This is absolute bullshit. The first thing Donald Trump did when he got into office after pardoning all of the January 6 rioters was to fire all of the inspectors general of all of the government agencies. So the people that actually do the looking into of the waste, fraud, and abuse. He fired all of those people. The people that actually know what's going on in their agencies. And he put the ketamine-addled welfare queen Elon Musk on the job. And he's calling everything that is in his way waste, fraud, and abuse. And claiming that 150-year-olds are collecting Social Security. Give me a fucking break. God damn. These talking heads, this fucking hairbag right here, looking like Lord Farquaad, some of you are going to die, and that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. I'm done listening to this son of a bitch, but, it doesn't end there, because I don't know if you guys have you've seen this one yet or not, but Congresswoman Joni Ernst of Iowa did a little town hall a couple of days ago, and her constituents are not really happy about the big beautiful bill and the cuts made to cuts are going to be made to Medicaid, and they're voicing their opinion. And she has a really lovely thing to say to them. It's, you know, it's out of love because she's a Christian woman, you know, and, you know, she believes in the Lord, our Savior, and she's got some really sage wisdom for him.
When we're talking about the corrections in this reconciliation bill, again, it's corrections of overpayments and people that have not been eligible for these programs by law as it is currently written. So when you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits.
Bullshit. Yet again, illegals are not receiving these benefits.
1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people.
By the way, just want to get this out of the way. They're talking about 1.4 million illegal immigrants, collecting on this, and they're talking about $900 billion worth of cuts to Medicaid. Is that all of them? Or are we talking about the mythical 30-year-olds playing video games, eating Cheetos on the couch in their mom's basement? I mean, you're talking about 1.4 million people. Is that going to encompass it? Because I heard it's going to be somewhere between 9 and 13 million people who are not getting it. Which one is it? Make up your goddamn mind.
Well, we all are going to die. So,
for heaven's sakes, we're all going to die. It's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Y'all are going to have to die, and, I'm just going to have to serve my donors and get reelected. Well, that interesting little tidbit wasn't all she had to say, because after saying that we're all, for heaven's, there are constituents in the audience going, these cuts basically are going to mean that people are not going to be able to get health care, and some of them are going to die. I'm old enough to remember way back in the day when Obamacare was, being argued, and people like, what is her name? I did a good job putting her out of my head. John McCain's running mate. She would say, these are just death panels. This Obamacare is just a death panel. Some people are going to get coverage and some people aren't. That just means that those people are just going to die. It's a death panel. And by the way, I can see Russia from my window, and these people are going to die. So now this woman, Joni Ernst, Congresswoman Joni Ernst, she's not a congresswoman. She's a senator. And by the way, she's up for re-election next year. So golly gee, I hope people remember this. And golly gee, I hope her Democrat opponent is clipping that goddamn thing and is going to be using it in an ad to run against her, grow a backbone, and shove this shit in her face. But she said this, so she gets some backlash, and she felt like she needed to speak to the people and give a little bit of an apology here. So let's take a look and see what her apology was. Before I get into it, if you listen to what she says, but I want you to look in the background to see where she's at. This woman is at a cemetery. Is she trolling as hard as I think she is? But let's see what old Joni has got to say about this.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. See, I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
Fuck you, lady. Straight up. Fuck you, lady. If you think that the audience doesn't understand that we will all perish, and you're under the assumption that maybe she needs to tell you about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny too, because we're all living under this delusion that we're going to live forever. No, bitch. What you're saying is, you're not saying that we're all going to die. What you're saying is, I don't care if you die tomorrow. If you have medical care, then maybe you could live a little bit more of a full life. But according to Miss Ernst here, she doesn't give a flying fuck if you die right there in front of her. Some of you guys are going to have to die if, and if that happens, it is what it is. It sucks to suck. That's what she's saying. It sucks to suck for you. And by the way, that is not an apology. You're not apologizing for what you're saying. You're saying, I'm sorry that you feel bad about what I had to say. I'm sorry that you got offended at my words. Fuck you, lady. Just simply fuck you. God damn it, if there is not a Democrat out there who is going to run against her next year, who is not clipping these ads, who's not running this to bury her. I mean, if we get free and fair elections next year, this woman, she should be beat by 10 points easily. I've never seen anybody so goddamn out of touch. Mike Johnson is jumping from left foot to right foot to please the dear leader. But this woman right here, she's trying a Trump tactic. The doubling down, the tripling down, I'm sorry if you feel bad about what I said. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, my heart breaks. My heart pumps purple piss, baby. I feel so bad for you. Oh, is your mom going to die? Well, you better get your boots on and get back to work. Oh, golly gee. You want your Medicare? Well, you're going to have to leave your sick dad at home for at least 20 hours a week, or else we're just going to snatch that away from you. I hope you don't get sick and die. That would really suck. If she does not get her ass handed to her in an next election, if her people in Iowa, and it's a very Republican state, but if her people in Iowa don't remember this, I mean, look, some of these politicians are like the worst humans ever, without a doubt. My problem with Democrats is they're all weak and feckless, but Republicans are just evil. I mean, just straight up evil. Being sarcastic about poor people losing their health care and possibly dying, that is just dark, man. It's so fucking dark. But some of this is on voters. Because if they go back and vote for that woman after this shit, honestly, Iowa, you deserve it. I just hope that there's enough people in Iowa to go, Jesus, that psycho bitch has got to go. Because that psycho bitch has got to go. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.